I think this panel is perhaps one of the most important panels, I believe so, because we're talking about the future. I love what I was hearing from, and I made notes here before we go over to getting the panel introduced. I love what Alexander was referring to because there's two main things as business owners, as investors, as leaders that we need to be mindful of. Of course, is ROI and the future trends. And we're going to be talking about this very topic right now. Gen Z and Gen Alpha, what does that even mean? Are we talking about kids? Are we talking about young adults? No, we're talking about the future of our products. Having said that, I'd like to allow our fellow panelists to go ahead and introduce themselves one by one, starting by my mate Philip here.
Hey everybody, I'm noted. We are the only thing that stands between you and the after party, so we'll try to be as effective as possible. I'm Philip. I'm a co-founder of MatchHype. We are on the market for about 3 years, and we are doing automated sports and casino video content integrated directly into the sportsbook. You can imagine it like a TikTok inside of your sportsbook, with dozens of videos every day, and everything automated. We're working with operators mostly around Europe, with operators like Betano, Netherlands National Lottery, or Allwyn. So yeah, that's what we do. So yeah, of course, the younger audience is something that's our product is focusing a little more than the older one.
Very good.
Okay, forget to say that you're a content producer for 15 years.
Yeah, I'm doing it for a while, but in the iGaming industry, I'm not for that long, just a couple of years. But thank you. This is my hype man here.
Okay, thank you. I'm Natalia. I'm a head of SEO and Youngstad Gaming, working in iGaming since 2017, 9 years. I'm on operator side, but I had experience as well on the affiliation sides. That said that the previous panel left, I had a lot of questions, but let's discuss. I'm also mother of 2 teenagers. So I think, and before I came here, I actually organized the audience with their friends, what they love the best. And let's see what we can bring here.
Hi, hello, and thank you all for being here. My name is Laura. I'm the CEO of Betandil, and I've been in the industry for 6 years. We are affiliates, and we work mainly with social media traffic, so I think it's very near to the topic we have here today. And we work mainly here in Europe, and in the whole America, North America and Latin America.
Hi, I'm Henk. I've been an iGaming consultant for the last couple of years, been in this industry for over a decade, started as a regulated operator, and now I help operators from all colors of the rainbow. Been doing this for quite a while, and yeah, the new generation I think is often overlooked, even though they state that they're already at a young age, that they're already gambling addicted, with literally over 13% more than the previous generations, and they seem happy about it, and I think that's odd.
Hello, I'm Artak. I represent Toto Gaming Romania. I'm Deputy CEO of Toto Gaming Romania and Director of Pet Shops for Toto Gaming Armenia. Yes, the topic is quite interesting and very important because I'm father of 2 as well. And I'm pretty sure that what we are going to discuss here and the new windows and opportunities that we are going to discuss here will have a massive impact for the later times on the product development and the service development as well. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Disclaimer, we're not targeting kids. I'm a father of a 14-year-old as well. But again, we're talking about behavior. We're analyzing from a behavioral perspective. I want to start, and I like the comments that Hank made in a very thought-provoking manner, but I want to start throwing this question out to the panelists. If you stripped gambling mechanics away from your product, would your game still be fun to play? Because we see in a lot of ways engagement, transparency seems to be a big deal. So we're going to start this panel talking from a behavioral perspective for generations Z and Alpha, and then eventually we're going to be moving over to product itself in a more granular way. So having said that, the answer to this question is no, can we say that we have already lost Generation Alpha? Question to the floor, please.
I think it's quite interesting. If you look at the new generations, they're already used to gambling at the age of 9. And that's not because of gambling. It is because of games such as FIFA, where you already have loot boxes, Roblox, which is immensely big. And those kind of games, they don't get regulated enough on what gambling actually is. I mean, in my youth, we used to play Counter-Strike. And you had loot boxes that you could buy, and you could gamble then, and you could sell the skins online. Now the kids do it with digital money that they can't withdraw, but they still gamble. So I think, and if you look at the data, the kids nowadays, I'm sorry, but if someone's under the age of 18, I'll just call them kids. If they are gambling, what the data shows that they're gambling to be rich, not for entertainment. So that's what we show them on Instagram is, if you look at Instagram, most content is about how do you get rich quick, and you see Andrew Tate and all those influencers. It's all about getting rich. And kids these days, they want that same feeling. So, yeah, I think even if you take away quite a lot of the mechanics in a game, such as mega wins or whatsoever, they would still gamble because they've got this dream to become rich quick. And it doesn't matter if it's through slots. Most of these kids, they bet on esports now anyway. But it's the thought of how do we get as quick rich as possible, and that's the thing that we should focus on rather than the game mechanics.
Very good. Anyone wants to add to that? I like that.
From my perspective, I will add that yes, the changes drastically, and nowadays the products are mainly rely on financial outcome. If you remove the gambling from the most of the products, we won't find any excitement there. But from the other side, as Hank mentioned, we have a lot of products. I will add also prediction market, where there is no age burden for the participants. And yes, for sure, we should create the products which are aligned with the habits, digital habits they are shaping today for the next legal age customers for us.
Yeah.
And we should create the products and services the way that the excitement will come from the journey itself, not from the financial outcome. Otherwise, we will end up in a situation where kids are gambling starting from Roblox, prediction markets, and the rest of the products that are available for them. They don't understand how the mathematics of finance, but they do understand they need this finance, starting from buying the toys and incomes getting rich.
I think it's not only being rich, but also engagement with the product. For example, the games that lead to the favorite movies, or the games, for example, Haxo Game had recently one game that is called Spiral, and it's about Japanese horror movies. And I noticed that it's crazy impossible to get Gen Z out of it, because it's not only about mechanics, it's about the characters, it's about the story behind it. It was strange for me to follow, but it was difficult to take off also my kids out of it, because when they was testing it. So it's also about the story behind the slot. It's something new that's coming, I think. We had this a lot in Japanese market, but it's something that's coming also to the European market, I believe. Maybe it's just starting. Let's see how it will go. But
Do you think because the content now is easier to spread with TikTok and it shows the characters, do you think it's because of that, or do you think it's because of the game itself?
I think it's because of the community, the children that belong to community, and they see what their community is doing, and they going through it and see what is related to this interest, and they're engaging and looking for this type of the games. What they already saw in TikTok, actually, but also what they saw in their WhatsApp communities, school communities, and how they create their connections.
And that's part of the reason as well, Natalia, I believe, and before allowing here Philip or Laura to make comments, that's part of the reason why I believe stake was so successful with the newer generations, both in building communities with the crypto casino, with the original games, but in building communities and allowing players to actually interact with one another from Twitch over to Kick, and then via the communities as well. Very interesting. What's your thoughts on this, Philippe, and then Lon as well?
Yeah. I think that what's really new with these generations that are becoming players is also that they don't see like a borders between gaming and entertainment. It just blends together. So they expect from also from like a sports betting, the same level of like a community, the same level of showcasing your achievement, if you could put it this way. So I think this is like really new opportunity for the operators to really bring a new layer into the products, that's focused also on this. I'm not saying that we should change sports. I'm talking a little bit about sports books because it's a little bit more my topic. But I'm not saying that we should turn sportsbook into TikTok, but we kind of do have to do something, if we want to engage with these younger generations, and definitely I'm not talking about kids, but young adults, because they are expecting to be able to showcase their achievement to work in the community, of their friends, and because from older generations, gaming was a little bit, lonely. You were just playing by yourself, and now this is really like switching a lot, I think.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I think nowadays all it's about the community, and new generations want to be part of something and don't want to feel themselves alone. So I think I don't have nothing more to add.
I would
There's-
say, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes, I would think it's part of being community. It's also being original, be unique. And from casino perspective, I see that another good product that have the great success for us, it's original games. It's like games that cut for our customers and that only we have. So it's something that's also exciting the new generation.
I'm very impressed. We're surrounded by specialists here, specialists from affiliates, operators to just iGaming experts. Now, having said that, guys, and again, want to throw this out there to the floor. There's so much happening at the same time. We're talking loot boxes, we're talking sweepstakes, we're talking gamification, we're talking prediction markets, we're talking generations. How do we, as iGaming specialists or experts, let's call ourselves that for a moment, it feels good to do that. How do we remove the noise and ensure, for instance, my next question was going to be the traditional sports book. Okay, let's look at the good old Betfairs, Bet365s, the layouts. Bet365, very successful, the pioneers in sportsbook in so many ways. But is the layout too data heavy for a generation that prefers video and swipe-based navigation? But at the same time, I ask this question, I want to provoke as well when saying, if it is, why is prediction markets so successful, for instance, in the US, considering it's a P2P? And let's also remember that Betfair's one of the most successful model in the past was exactly P2P. It was a sports exchange model that's coming back in so many different ways. It's out there for comments.
If I may start, I think great questions. The prediction markets. I think that the main difference is that the predictions markets are very easy to understand. You can basically there's two options. Which you can bet on, or you can choose if something happens or not. But if you are never bet on sports before and you go to the sports book, there's a lot of numbers. You don't really know what to do. It looks like Excel spreadsheet, which I'm not sure if younger generations even know what Excel spreadsheet is. But it's really great if you are experienced sports bettor. You can build your bet slip with Bet Builder. Do a lot of stuff. That's amazing. But for somebody who's just starting with this, I think the predictions market are much easier to understand, and also there's like the social aspect, which is not that much in the sports books, So yeah, I think that is the main reason.
And yes, I do absolutely agree that the traditional sports book for the new generation is like very weird, and the tons of information is just keeping them away from the sports book. If we be able to provide the layers for the players, uh, look at the prediction markets. You have 3-4 outcomes maximum. And for the sports book, thousands of outcomes, markets, odds, lives, tons of opportunities. But if the platforms would be available to layer the product, for the ones who are experienced bettors, they will deep dive, find the odds they are trying to find, try to find the markets, make the bets, they will be still happy. But for the new generation, for sure, maximum 1 or 2 information we need to showcase them. I think we can change the UI with the live events from the games, maybe from replays from the games. I don't know, any kind of content that will feel catchy for them, but not the numbers. You're absolutely correct. For them, it's like Excel spreadsheet, and they're gonna hate it if we keep the same UI and the traditional sportsbook for the next legal age generation.
And I think on top of that as well, if you look at sportsbook, it's a typical demographic, right? It's mainly male, and with prediction market, you can go all the way. If we're looking at Euro Song Festival, for instance, it's very easy to gamble on, and every other world event that is going on, you can easily gamble on it, and I think it makes it more actual for the player as well, rather than just only having sportsbook. Look, I don't really have any affection with football, so I don't really tend to go to sportsbooks. But prediction markets, that's something else. If I can bet on the course of Bitcoin or anything else, I think that's way more fun. Now, I do think there's a big risk with prediction bets, and it's the one thing I really hate about the product of prediction betting, and that's death gambling. Like that we can place bets on how many people are dying in a war. I think that's the one thing that we really, as an industry, should get rid of. I absolutely hate it. I think we should get rid of it. And I think we, as an industry, if we don't allow that, it could be a great product for the industry. That's one thing I really want to put out there. Let's get rid of death gambling.
Yeah, the problem here, I think that is that prediction markets are not regulated in all the markets. For example, here in Spain, they're not allowed. So for me, the problem is that sportbooks can't add this kind of markets inside the product. Also, I think that we don't have to remove all the different markets, odds, etc. we can find in a traditional sportbook, but we need to make easier the principal ones. I mean, the football matches. First of all, you want the winner or something like that, and then if you want, you can research and you can find different odds for different markets. But we have to make easy the first bet.
Okay, I'm not a big fan of sportsbook, to be honest. They are complicated for me, even if I work with them. So prediction market, it's a great solution. I'm probably Gen Z myself. Because it's understandable, it's fun. And if you see, again, coming to Roblox and coming to the games like nowadays our children play, it's more logical to come for loot boxes. It's so much easier because always they have some daily rewards, daily daily whatsoever, and they infinite, and it's more interesting for the children, for the young adults, and it's more understandable. Also, the layout, like technical wise, why it would work for me, because it's video. When we speak about rather than just the buttons, and where you need to know all the match. Okay, maximum you could see the schemes, but you need to watch the screen to see, and you need to understand the game. In the prediction market, you don't need anything of this, and technical wise also, it's easier to load. Like it will overtake. Like right now for the crypto casino, if you look for the crypto casino next, last week, the first one answer was Polymarket, prediction market. So it's already there for the crypto. I have nothing to say about odds, but I would like they would be more easier for the people to understand, like me.
The thing with the loot boxes as well is that players in the same game can see what skin the other player has. So now there's a sort of jealousy, and they want to get that same skin, even though it costs hundreds of euros to have a chance to obtain that skin. And having that possibility to show something off in a game, that's getting more realistic now. And even if you look at older games such as World of Warcraft and everything, this is something that younger generations, they value this a lot. So that is something that we should also consider. Yeah.
I would say also for us, the social media content was more profitable when we were sharing the skins.
Yeah.
I definitely consider myself a dinosaur in a way, because when you mention Spyro, the only Spyro I remember is a little dragon on PlayStation 1 I used to play. That's the Spyro, it's a green dragon. I'm sure you guys know about this. Prediction markets, they've been forbidden in Brazil for the very same reason. As much as I love Polymarket, I like Cauchy, but Polymarket have been extremely aggressive with the markets they're allowing to, in a way that was the main reason why the Brazilian regulator and the Ministry of Finance have actually forbidden them. Now, is that the only reason though? Is it mainly because of product familiarity or the way the younger generation can relate? I'm asking you this question because I was sitting in New York a few weeks ago and I heard from Bill Pasquale. He's one of the most well-respected authorities in iGaming. He had this candidness of standing in the stage and saying, the prediction markets model, not prediction markets per se, but the model, it's here to stay. We, dinosaurs, and that's why I said I'm a dinosaur as well, we need to adapt or die. Because I also know that one of the reasons why the Brazilian public audience, they're choosing predictions is not only because of the familiarity, it's not because of the ease of playing, but because they understand the commercial models, as in the house is not interested in my losses. They're making money on the fixed income, 3-4% of the entire wagered amount per se, and they love it, and they see that as more transparent. And the reason why I'm making this connection is because these generations here, they have a very strong orientation towards transparency and ethics. And they understand the way a prediction market operator make money. They don't understand how we make money. They think, as iGaming operators, as casinos, as sportsbook, they know it's GGR. Does that make a difference in your opinion as well? The fact that some of our target audience know the way we make money and they might feel it's a little bit twisted in the traditional iGaming verticals?
I guess it depends on the country and the regulatory framework. I would say from a Romanian perspective, regulation is very tough. Responsible gambling is a top priority. The rest, they don't care about it. They know the finance, they know the mathematics, how we earn money. So the whole stress in responsible gambling. For the prediction market, I will be very honest, it's confusing. Whether it's skill game, whether it's luck, whether there are prediction aspects where even you might find some RNG components. So it's very difficult even to calculate the finance behind the prediction markets. I'm not sure the reason why the Romania prohibited prediction market for the country, but I'm pretty sure, having in mind the prehistory, this responsible gambling is top priority there. Then it comes to financial part for sure.
I think if you're looking at how many people understand how prediction markets make money, I think you're already looking into a niche of the demographic. So, we're already looking at a high value tier player. If you're looking at the majority, I think it's just the ease and the accessibility that they can. Now, why regulators ban this? It's because it's something new, and they don't want something new from our industry, and especially if it's not. The thing when Kalshi and everything, they get into the news, it's often because of the bad bets that you can place on it, rather than the good bets. And there's a lot of bets on crypto, and most of these countries, they don't even understand crypto fully yet. I mean, the UK is now considering to accept crypto as a payment method for casinos, which is a great thing. I think most countries should. But now, when one country starts to do it, it might open up a door of, hey, we need to understand more of this product and more of this service so that we can actually create a good opinion on it. And I think we should do that first before we just start banning it, because I think banning it is one of the silliest things we can do. I think we should educate, and that's one thing I really vouch for.
I don't really think that they don't want anything new in the market. What I really think is that in regulated markets like Romania, Spain, Brazil, if they don't have all the stuff under control, they don't want to allow new things. So what I really think is that they understand how traditional markets makes money. It's the same as us, but they don't really know how to regulate that. And that's why it's like in a gray zone in all the regulated markets nowadays.
As a service for crypto casino, I'm not able to comment on this.
Maybe if I can just, I just think it's maybe pretty simple. I don't think that the young generation like the idea of gambling or the word gambling and the predictions market. It just doesn't feel like gambling. It feels like something between fun and investment. And it's not that like it just doesn't have that bad smell. To be honest.
And again, we forget a lot of times that it's not a new model at all. It's just newer layers because, again, Betfair used to do this ages ago with the B2B, with the bet exchange and a few other models. Now, I have another question. Now, moving on, flipping the page on prediction a little bit, let's talk about more like behavior and TikTok and social media, like some of you guys touched on it. How do we bridge the gap between the high-speed dopamine of a TikTok feed and the relatively slower pace of a traditional football match or a standard slot spin? That's one of the key challenges we have. So, want to touch on that, anyone?
I think if you place a 90-minute bet just on who's going to win, a lot of these smaller in-game bets is where operators can make a lot of money, right? On the live events, that's where you can make usually GGR on top of in Europe, on top of a casino sportsbook adds 15%. But if you really narrow it down, and if you're able to create real-time bets on the event that's going on, and the player is already on your platform, that's where you can make a lot of money. So the real-time bets, I think, is something that we should use more as sportsbook operators. But at the same time, it's very work-intensive, like it is. And because you need to be constantly active, and AI is nearing an era where we can actually let AI do their work here. But we're not just there. It's close. And I think that's where we're going to make more money.
Moving into the casino. Okay, moving into the casino, I don't think that slots are slow, but what I think is that people can't interact. People can't do anything. You have to press the button, and that's it. That's why cross games are growing a lot nowadays, because the player have the decision to make something, and they think they have the control. So what I think for the casinos have to do is to produce more cross games, a lot of cross games based on football matches, basketball, like the chicken roll today. All the people are crazy about that. It's because you think you can control the chicken, but you can't. I think we need to move forward to over there.
I love the control the chicken. I love it. But guys, before Philip says something, what Laura said now is very important, especially for markets like Brazil. I know we're all very eager about Brazil, but let me stand in defense of Brazil here as a Brazilian person. Most of us, we never saw a casino in our lives. Land-based casinos have been forbidden in the 40s. I was born in 83. Having said that, to put a Brazilian in front of, we have an Argentinian here. In Argentina, they have had land-based casinos for a long time. Chile, Brazilians go there to play. But the typical Brazilian, even a slot machine, like our Laura is saying, they don't know what to do. What's a line? What's a credit? Did I win? What are bonus rounds? Having said that, that's why Crash Games made so much success there, like Aviators and so on and so forth. So very interesting topic. Go ahead, Philip.
Just a quick reaction on what you just said. I remember when I was a kid, there was like the slot machines in a lot of pubs, in Czechia, and nobody was playing them because it was like, too on your eyes, when it was the river or something. So there was like new law, and the slot machines need to be in like a separate room, so nobody saw you. And from that point, everybody started to play slots because nobody saw them, So it's like, yeah. I wanted to from your previous questions. I think that of course, football is slower than TikTok, but the young generations, they are watching football and they have phone with their hands, the whole time. And I think that what we need to do, we need to give them the stories and the content, and the interactivity in our platforms, to be us in their hands, at the time, not TikTok, not some other platforms, and I think that this is the way where this industry like should go, from the point of like content and interactivity and engagement in the platform, and that's kind of what we do at Match Highball. So no sales pitch.
I was advised we had less than 10 minutes for question, which is probably around 5 minutes now. So having said that, I'd like to open up for question from the audience. If anyone, you can raise your hand, the microphone will be brought over to you.
In the meanwhile, I just want to say, I don't advise Brazilian anymore to new operators. I really advise them to go to Chile and Peru. I advise
That's actually
people,
responsible.
Yeah.
Because LTV is becoming so difficult there. So like it's getting suffocated. So I actually think that's responsible. Because unless the operator really knows what they're doing for Brazil and have boots on the ground, they're not going to make money overnight. Like in Chile, like Peru, you said. Very good.
But not only operators, all the stakeholders sorry, in Brazil now are. The situation is complicated nowadays. I think it's still being a great market, and it's going to grow and to establish like European markets. But nowadays it's complicated for someone that don't know exactly how they need to do.
Didn't the president recently said that he wants to ban gambling again?
The same government that regulated us, us iGaming verticals. I was an operator. I was working for Stake at the time. The same president that made so much money on all the operators. We had more than 100 companies, and each company has 3 slots, and we all paid 6 million euros. It's a very expensive license, considering the amount of time it takes you to break even. He's now saying, he went on the public TV on the 8th of March, Women's International Day. Everybody was expecting a women's speech, and he was speaking against the recently regulated gambling sector. That's unacceptable, to say the least. No questions from anyone? Okay,
Let's go to the after party.
Yeah, let's move on to final considerations. And if you want to advise, Hank, I want to say we're both consulting. If you're looking for a business in Brazil, I'll be more than glad to assist as well. Let's do an association. Hank Consultants, CTC Advisors. Anyway, jokes aside, guys, final considerations starting from our friend Artak there.
Final consideration that we should be very careful while creating any product that our future legal age generation is going to consume. We should consider not only the engagement fund and also take the responsibility from the day one not to damage those generations, because any product that becomes sticky, these change behaviors and can create the, I would say, environment where nowadays generations are sharing their success, their failure, everything has a huge impact. From the moral side as well, we should be very cautious while creating and launching any business or service that's going to be used by our future legal age customers.
I think if you look at other industries such as alcohol, they deemed themselves immortal for so many years. And now we see younger generations drinking less and less. We shouldn't deem ourselves immortal either. We should innovate, but definitely protect as well. I make a lot of blunt remarks on my LinkedIn, and I kick shins here and there, but if it's about responsible gambling, I think, yeah, we should really pay attention to how can we protect these kids. But I also think that countries should look more at products such as FIFA, which has PG-3, by the way, and you get gambling already on there. So I think that is something that we should regulate more.
I also think that nowadays, all is about the community. All is about where do you are, what kind of movies do you see, what games. If you play FIFA, all your friends are going to play FIFA. So we need to find the specific topic for a specific market. I mean, the Brazilian kids are not the same as the Spanish one, and go for it and to have all the control about the protection we need to have for the youngest players, but we need to focus about what people are looking for in social media and translate that to the gamer.
I believe the upcoming generation is more vulnerable and have more addiction already because of how it was built the society, because the availability of internet for them, they're born with internet. So, and I agree with colleagues that we need to be careful and protect our children to make sure that regulation and gameplay it's not too addictive, and maybe develop some kind of ways to make sure that they don't become addictive. Everybody, it's become only way it will become the new alcohol or something like this.
Just wanted to say that I really want to, legal, regulated sports betting products be good, because the illegal, unregulated will be good, and I would rather, to new generation, play on this legal that will stop you if you play too much, and not in this, illegal ones that just won't stop you ever, and will take every penny from you. Yeah.
Thank you. It's so much easier to moderate a panel when you're surrounded by specialists. So thank you very much. I think this was a wonderful panel, and the fact that there is a very strong advent of social media regulation, and the authorities and the governments are waking up to the fact that this needs to happen over Meta, Instagram, Facebook, and it's happening. I think this will eventually contribute to a more conscious society overall. Having said that, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for a brilliant panel. Thank you,
very
Aflac,
much
for the invite. It's been an honor.